Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday. So if you are new here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. We've got a lot to discuss today. We've got the CPI data being announced at 1:30 in exactly 22 minutes. We are also going to take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news, and we'll be taking a look at the price of Bitcoin, analyzing that, and we'll probably going to see some wild volatility at 1:30 when that CPI data hits. We will be talking about that today. We'll do a little cheat sheet talking about the expectations for each scenario so that we're all prepared for 1 p.m. First of all, let's take a look at what Bitcoin's doing this morning. So Bitcoin is up 0.93% in the last 24 hours to $30,680. That's a price that I'm happy with. My long position is in a nice profit right now. Taking a look at Ethereum, it is up even more, up 1.03% to 1,886. So we've seen some nice movements there. Ethereum has continued to be outperformed by Bitcoin for the last month and a half now. I'm wondering and looking to see if there's going to be some shift in that. But right now, Bitcoin looks like it's gearing up for an explosive move. So maybe that is what we're going to see following this CPI data. I'm expecting a lot of volatility here. Now, we've tweeted out on the Crypto Saving Expert Twitter about this. If you have not followed us already on Crypto Saving Expert, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Threads, then make sure to head over to those channels and give us a follow to stay up to date with the latest news. You can see here the core CPI data is expected to be 3.1%. Headline CPI is forecast at 5%. Will this actually happen? Now, there's a big question here, and we're expecting to see some volatility when this news is announced. So let's talk about this quickly here. James says in the chat, is this bullish or bearish? Good morning to everybody in the chat. Thank you very much for tuning in as always. Let's discuss this. Is this bullish or is this bearish? Now, we can see here that we are going to find out at 1:30 p.m. BST time, I should add, the consumer price index year on year. Now, for May, year on year, it was 4%, and that was a really nice move. In June last year, 2022, we had a year on year inflation rate in the US of 9.1%. Now, the US and the Fed have been increasing interest rates in order to cause that decline in inflation, and they have managed to get it down to 4%. Now, it is forecast that the CPI data for June, which comes out today, will be at around 3.1%. However, that's not set in stone yet. We do not know. That's the forecast. Now, my analysis on this is, if it is actually 3.1%, this is highly anticipated, probably priced into Bitcoin. We'll probably see some major fluctuations, some huge amount of volatility, but we'll probably end up at the same price point that we currently are. We'll see lots of volatility, but end up pretty neutral overall as a net movement there. In terms of if we see inflation stay higher than expected, then that could be a signal that we are going to see some big interest rates. And in that scenario, we could see the price of Bitcoin move to the downside. We don't want to see interest rate increases, but we do already somehow have some expectations of that for the rest of the year. So that is somewhat priced in, but we do need to be aware of that. It would probably cause a move to the downside for Bitcoin. Now, if we do see inflation lower than expected at 3.1%, then we could see a nice move to the upside. This could imply that we are going to see a nice pause on interest rates for a little bit longer, and that's definitely what the markets want to see. So we need to keep an eye on this. It's definitely going to be a volatile time at 1:30, and I'm waiting to see how this plays out. I'm very excited about this today. We have 18 minutes to go until that inflation data announcement. So until then, let's take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news and see what is going on there. So first of all, let's talk about something completely different. We will come back to the inflation data, so don't worry about that. We won't be skipping it. We'll be taking a look at how Bitcoin Bitcoin reacts to the news. First of all, let's talk about Coinbase stock though. So Coinbase stock has been rallying. In fact, we've got another article here. Here we go. Coin defies bears almost doubled since the SEC sued Coinbase. So obviously we all know now the SEC sued Coinbase because they said that Coinbase were offering unregistered securities and acting as an unregistered securities exchange, and then listed many different altcoins as securities in these filings. And what we like to see, this is not what we want to see. This is basically regulation by enforcement. Now, following that, the price of Coin, which is the publicly traded ticker symbol for the publicly traded company Coinbase, we did see a little bit of a drop there. Obviously, if a company is getting sued by the SEC, people are going to sell the stock. But following that, the price rebounded pretty quickly there. We didn't see that drop stick for too long. We saw a nice retracement pretty soon after. And those filings against Coinbase and Binance from the SEC really didn't impact the market for that long of a period of time. The markets rebounded pretty quickly. And what we've seen since then is BlackRock and other companies like Fidelity file for spot Bitcoin ETFs, and they've all named Coinbase in their filings as the company for which they will get the Bitcoin price from. So they've all named Coinbase, and they will be using Coinbase and partnering with Coinbase to get the price of a spot Bitcoin ETF. So that's a massive importance for Coinbase and has caused the price of Coinbase to increase massively. So we can see that they have been named as surveillance partner for multiple spot Bitcoin ETFs. So there is a slight possibility that FOMO towards Coin has already kicked in, thus propelling its share price past the $100 price ceiling, despite its daily indicators suggesting a cool down. So although a lot of people sold following the SEC news, a lot of people have been buying following the BlackRock news. So very bullish news there. And it has caused the price of the stock to increase massively. But with that, we have actually seen Cathie Wood's ARK Invest CEO unload $12 million worth of the shares as Coin rallies to a one-year high. Now, we all know that Cathie Wood is a very smart investor. She has very bullish price predictions for Bitcoin within the next couple of years. I believe she's predicted that Bitcoin could hit $1 million by 2030. So very interesting price predictions have come from Cathie Wood. She's a very smart woman, but we have seen here that she is selling some of her Coinbase stock, maybe because she thinks that this is overvalued right now. We do know that Cathie Wood is bullish on Coinbase. She did mention, actually, when the filings against Coinbase and Binance came out, she looked at that and she said, this is actually a great thing for Coinbase because Binance are a huge part of the competition in the US for the company. And Binance's filing was a lot worse than Coinbase's. So saying that it could move away the competition in the US, it could have been a brilliant opportunity for Coinbase, and it seems that it was. Since then, Coinbase has continued to rise in terms of its stock value, and since then she's decided to take some profits. I don't think that means she's not bullish on the stock anymore. I think she just looks at this and says, if we've got BlackRock spot ETF around the corner and other spot Bitcoin ETFs around the corner, maybe the price of Coinbase is at a higher value than it needs to be. I have actually seen a lot of people speculating on this, and there is potential here that currently a lot of people use stocks like Coinbase stock and mining company stocks as a way to get exposure to the cryptocurrency industry without actually buying the assets themselves. But now that spot Bitcoin ETFs are on the horizon, people might shift from those stocks, from the mining stocks, from the exchange stocks, to actually holding spot Bitcoin ETF. So we could see a bit of a shift there, and therefore not see as much investment into cryptocurrency related stocks because of these spot Bitcoin ETFs. And because of that, I think Cathie Wood is the person that said this. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me. But if she is, this shows that she is under that belief and is looking to take some profits while she can, while there's so much hype and FOMO around the stock right now. So she's taken advantage of those high prices, took some money off the table. We do know she is still a shareholder in Coinbase though. So let's continue on to the next cryptocurrency news and see what else is going on. Please don't forget, before we continue today's stream, to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. We have the CPI data announcement in just 13 minutes time. We will be talking about what's going to happen to Bitcoin, what the fluctuations are going to be. It's going to be a very volatile time, so get ready for it. Let's take a look at the next piece of news, and then when we get to around 25 past, we'll talk about the inflation data once again. So the next piece of news that we have here is, let me pull this up, Coinbase Rainbow, use color to store your Bitcoin seed phrase. So Bitcoin investors can now camouflage their private key as a rainbow of colors, making it less of a target for malicious software. So seed phrases vulnerable to detection after generating a Bitcoin private key. Wallets typically convert the key into a set of 12 or 24 words. However, seed phrases are instantly identifiable to individuals with any experience in crypto. So this is a way of looking for camouflaged keys. So you can see here that we have all of the examples. If you are interested in this, make sure to check out the website cryptosavingexpert.com. I will drop the link to this article in today's chat. Let's see what's going on in the chat today. Hello, thank you very much for joining in as always, and thank you very much for all of those GMs this morning. GM to you all as well. Taking a look at this, Hennons thinks that not much will happen. We'll only see a long wick up immediately followed by a long wick down after everything will return to normal. And he also says, I think those firms choosing Coinbase on their Bitcoin ETF filing contribute to coin doing well. Yes, definitely the BlackRock's ETF filings has impacted the price of Coinbase if they're choosing Coinbase as the company to partner with in order to get the price of Bitcoin. It has massively helped the Coinbase stock there. Whether these prices are something that Coinbase can hold is another question. We're seeing a lot of FOMO in the markets right now, people wanting to get exposure to the cryptocurrency industry for the first time through traditional methods, and Coinbase is a brilliant way to do that. But we'll have to see how this plays out in the long term. Taking a look at what else you have said there, what's going to happen with the fluctuations around the CPI data? We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's continue today's crypto news, and then we'll get onto the CPI data. The inflation data does come out in 11 minutes time, so make sure if you are interested in that to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button. We currently have, it looks like on my end, 40 concurrent viewers on today's stream and only 11 likes. So if you have not already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest crypto news and miss that inflation data. We've got 10 minutes now. Let's quickly run through some more of the crypto news and then we'll get onto it. So Dubai's Vara withdraws BitOasis's conditional operational license. So the crypto exchange's license with Dubai's Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority has been suspended for not meeting mandated conditions. Now, we have seen a lot of people look at Dubai and just think it's a place that you can go, you can pay no tax, and there's not really any regulation. Dubai do have strict regulation for cryptocurrency companies. They just have transparent regulation that companies can abide by, unlike the US. So we can see here that the regulator issued an alert on the 10th of July announcing ongoing supervisory controls and enforcement actions initiated against BitOasis. And we've seen they have issued a conditional MVP license on the 12th of April 2023 that would permit market operations upon the entity's fulfillment of key conditions over 30 to 60-day timeframes. And they added that BitOasis had not met the license requirements within the prescribed time, hence the enforcement actions. So just a warning there to any users. I will be dropping the link to that in today's live stream today. So make sure if you have not already to go over to our website and check it out at cryptosavingexpert.com. But wait till the end of today's stream here. Also, before we continue today's stream, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. We have 9 minutes until that CPI data, which will massively get some volatility in Bitcoin. So we will be talking about that in just a second. We'll talk about all the possible scenarios before that data comes out, and then we'll see how it actually plays out. It's going to be very, very exciting here. Let's see what else is going on. So cross-chain protocol Axelar partners with Microsoft. So a strategic partnership between the two companies has launched today to improve the integration of Web3 technology and more traditional internet-based services. Again, what we like to see. There's a lot of talk here. I mean, I like to talk a lot about how we can get people from Web 2 to Web 3. Now we have Web 3, we have the cryptocurrency space, we have all of these new projects, and the industry just seems to be booming with new ideas. The problem I really see for the cryptocurrency industry is the difficulty and the lack of bridges to get people involved in the space. The bridges from Web 2 to Web 3 are very, very small. So when we see partnerships like this, I think it's a massive step forward, and we need to see a huge amount more of effort going into this. If you are actually interested in how we see adoption from Web 2 to Web 3, make sure to go to cryptosavingexpert.com. If you come to the courses section here and you go to Crypto 101, there is a course in this section called Web 2 versus Web 3, and it talks about how we can integrate people from Web 2 to Web 3 and how we can help grow the space. One of the interesting things that Reddit did was they created some online collectible items which were actually NFTs, but you could just purchase them like a normal internet purchase. But when people wanted to sell their collectibles, they had to go onto an NFT marketplace, forcing people into the Web 3 space. And then when people feel educated on the industry and how it works, they then feel like they want to do that little bit more research. And getting people from Web 2 to Web 3 is a really important challenge that we need to be focusing a lot more on in this industry, in my opinion. But it's definitely something that we are seeing steps towards, so it's definitely an improvement there. Let's continue with the next piece of news here, and then we are going to take a look at the CPI data. We've got 7 minutes left, so let's see what's going on here. We currently have 19 likes on today's stream. Please don't forget, if you have not already, to like today's video. Let's try and get to 50 on today's video. We've got 40 viewers currently and only 19 likes. Please make sure to hit that like button. Sorry, we've got 50 viewers currently. Let's take a look at this. We've got Grayscale protests the SEC's approval of a leveraged Bitcoin futures ETF. So Grayscale have filed a letter with the US Court of Appeals in DC, stating that the recently approved leveraged Bitcoin ETF is riskier to investors than a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, this is something that we've seen Grayscale fighting for a long period of time. What we have here is we are seeing BlackRock, Fidelity, and other companies filing for spot Bitcoin ETFs. There have been 33 spot Bitcoin ETF applications before to the SEC, all of which have been denied. We have, however, had leveraged Bitcoin ETFs being accepted. It seems now that there is a high likelihood that BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF will be accepted. BlackRock have filed for over 500 spot ETFs before, and only one of them have been rejected. So we're looking at a high likelihood here that they have this in the bag, and we will see that spot Bitcoin ETF launching towards the end of this year or towards the start of next year, just in time for that Bitcoin halving and the next bull run, in my opinion. But what we can see here is Grayscale fighting for a spot Bitcoin ETF for themselves. So Grayscale have been trying to get a spot Bitcoin ETF for years. It's something the SEC keep denying for them. But let's see what's in this article here and what argument they're fighting this time. So Grayscale's Investments has an ongoing lawsuit against the SEC for rejecting its application to convert its Bitcoin trust into a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, Grayscale have this Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, GBTC, and it is basically a basket of Bitcoin, but it's not an ETF, so the price of the stock is not pegged to the price of Bitcoin. With an ETF, one stock equals one Bitcoin price, and that stays the same. With GBTC, it's just a company that holds a huge amount of Bitcoin, and yes, they are highly correlated because of the underlying value of that stock being the value of their Bitcoin. However, it's not one-to-one. So we see massive volatility between the prices of the stocks and the Bitcoin, the underlying assets. So we can see here they've been fighting for that spot Bitcoin ETFs for years. It's not something they've had. They are now in court against this, in a lawsuit against the SEC. But now they are saying, let's see what they're saying here. The 2x Bitcoin Strategy ETF, which seeks to double the performance of the S&P CME Bitcoin Futures Daily Roll Index each day, is leveraged. As a result, it exposes investors to an even riskier investment product than traditional Bitcoin futures exchange-traded products, which encompasses risks related to both the futures and spot Bitcoin ETFs. Now, I definitely want to keep an eye on what's happening with this lawsuit. It could indicate what's going to happen in the future with these spot Bitcoin ETFs. It's definitely an eye-opener, and we need to keep an eye on this and see what's happening. Let's see now. We need to move on. We need to discuss what's going to happen with the inflation data that is announced in just 4 minutes time. Hannah says, drink your coffee, Jess. I've got none left. I need a sip. My throat's getting a little bit dry here. I Afax says soon will be 500,000 likes and 5,000 views. I definitely hope so. If you have not already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest crypto news. We are now talking about the CPI data, the inflation rates in the US. In June last year, June 2022, we saw year-on-year inflation hit 9.1% in the US, and since then we've seen incredibly high interest rates in the US. They keep increasing. We have now seen a pause in those interest rates, but will that continue? Well, we're going to get some insight on that today. We are expecting inflation to decline from 4% to 3.1% today. And if that is a true forecast and it's as expected, it could create some volatility for Bitcoin. If the inflation does not come down as much as we hope for, and it's still higher than 3.1%, we're probably going to see some downwards action. What we will probably see there is we'll probably see a likelihood of higher interest rates, but it's going to be expected that if inflation doesn't come down as expected, we need to increase interest rates some more. That's negative for the markets. We could see some price declines. However, if interest rate comes below 3.1% or even at 3.1%, we could see a nice move to the upside. That shows that even though we have seen that pause in interest rates, we are still seeing that lower inflation rates. That could be really positive for the Bitcoin price. We've got a couple of minutes now until we know what's going to happen here. We have 52 viewers on today's stream, so please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest crypto news. We do these live streams every single weekday, so make sure to tune in with us and see what's going on in the crypto markets. We talk about the crypto news, we analyze the price of Bitcoin, and we stay up to date with everything that is going on. Now, what we have here is we have 1 minute left until we find this inflation data. Again, as I was saying, it was 4%, and now we are hearing what the year-on-year inflation data was for June to June 2023. It's forecast to be at 3.1%. Will that happen? We do not know. We are about to find out in just a couple of seconds here. If you find out before me, drop it in today's chat, but we are going to find out right now. Notifications on, ready to hear. Let's see if we can refresh this page at 30 minutes past and see if this comes up. We should all be very interested in the price of Bitcoin right now. In fact, let's pull that up. Let's get this on to the 1 minute chart because we're going to see some volatility here. Let me know if you guys see any data here. Let's refresh the page. Nothing's come through yet. Bitcoin's looking very, very volatile here. Let's see what's going on. Please don't forget, if you have just joined today's stream, to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest crypto news. It looks like the data is out. What is the data? Let's see if we can find out here. If anybody has seen, please drop it in today's chat. We are looking right now to get that data. Let me see if I can find it on another tab here while you watch the price of Bitcoin absolutely explode. CPI data. Let's see if this has come out today. Let's see what we can find. Before we do, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Here we go. The data is in, and it is at 3% year on year. So even lower than expected. And as we said here on the channel, if it's lower than expected, that's definitely positive for the price of Bitcoin. That shows that even though we had that interest rate pause in the US, the inflation is still declining, and pretty quickly as well. So definitely important there. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can pull this up here and see. Let's take a look at that a bit clearer. So this is the chart here. Inflation has dropped to 3%. It was forecast to be at 3.1%. Previously, it was at 4%. So we have seen a nice decline there. Seeing inflation drop so quickly in the US is definitely a positive thing here. We are going to see some volatility. I know we have seen some upwards movement as predicted, but it's not going to be upwards in a straight line. Please be aware of that. We've got some volatility on the way. It's not going to be a quick, nice trade. Once a wild pony says pump, dump, and then let's see if we can get to 32K. Let's talk about that. Let's zoom out a little bit. Bitcoin is going to be incredibly volatile here for a while, but let's take a look Now, what's going on the 1 hour chart, on the 4 hour chart here, sorry. So what we are looking at here is we have a level of resistance at that $31,250 level. I need a sip of coffee. And what we can see here is we have a level of support as well at around $29,850. We have been within this price range for around 3 weeks. We have really not seen much volatility in the price of Bitcoin here. We've been in a $2,000 range for 3 weeks. Now, we are seeing some volatility in the short term on the 1 minute chart. Definitely some volatility there. I mean, let's take a look at the percentage change. So this is when the announcement came out. And since then, we did see a rise, an immediate rise of 0.5% in the last, in 1 minute, which is absolutely crazy. If you ask for that in the stock market, it'd be pretty hard to find. Let's take a look at the bigger time frames again, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. So on the 4 hour chart here, you can see, if I pull up the 4 hour chart, that is, if on the 4 hour chart here, we have this level of resistance at 31,250. What I'm waiting for here now is to see a 4 hour candle close above that level of resistance. We've seen wicks above it before, but we've never seen a 4 hour candle close above it. And when we do, I would class that as a breakout, and then I'd be looking at some really positive price predictions there. But until then, we are still within this range. This is definitely positive news here. We have had inflation. If you have just tuned in, inflation has dropped to 3% year on year in the US, lower than forecasted, and therefore definitely positive for the markets, showing that even though interest rates have paused, we are still seeing that decline in inflation. In the US, we saw inflation rise to 9.1% in June 2022 year on year. And that was a really negative thing. We do have a price prediction of getting that down to 2%. And to do that, the Fed need to increase interest rates. When they increase interest rates, people are spending less money. People are moving away from risk on assets. So in order to make the economy shrink, that's exactly what the Fed want to see. So they've been increasing interest rates over and over again, causing the economy to shrink, people to spend less money. Therefore, inflation does come down. However, people have less money, so they're moving away from risk on assets like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, like the cryptocurrency markets. So it's a negative for the cryptocurrency markets when interest rates are high. But now that we see that the higher interest rates have been causing that drop in inflation, it could be a sign that interest rates can stay level for a little bit longer. If not, it is a positive sign that we are going to see them decline within the next year or two. And when we have that positive news there, we definitely see that reflected in it. Let's pull this back up and see what's going on the volatility here. As expected. I mean, it's just going to pause here. I mean, TradingView's crashed. Has TradingView crashed, or is my stream crashed? What we can see here is, oh no, it looks like we're back in action. We're back in action. I'm asking too much off my computer here. So on the 1 minute chart, let's pull this up. If we go to the auto chart here, Bitcoin is still looking incredibly volatile. Before we continue today's stream, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Should we get onto some cryptocurrency news, and then we can come back to the price of Bitcoin, see what else is going on here? So let's go back to some crypto news on cryptosavingexpert.com, talking about this quickly here. 14's sentenced to 23-year jail term for crypto mugging. So the young offenders were convicted of aggravated crime targeting about 26 cryptocurrency holders. We also have in today's news the US Department of Justice, I always get this wrong once, indicts man for stealing $9 million via smart contract exploit. But what is with everyone stealing cryptocurrency today in the headlines? And also we have seen, this is an interesting one here, Hong Kong neobank freezes user accounts over crypto-related transactions. Now I'm going to pull up the price of Bitcoin so you can watch that whilst I talk about this. Hong Kong have tried to become a cryptocurrency hotspot, and they've done a lot to try and put themselves on this pedestal. And to be honest, it has worked. They said, we want to become a cryptocurrency hotspot, and everyone said, okay, that's fine. They said, we are going to regulate the industry. We're not going to make it super easy, but we're going to be transparent. Now that's something the US can't provide, so everybody's looking at that and cheering them on. We have also heard a lot of people say Asia will be the leaders for the next cryptocurrency bull market. So Hong Kong positioning themselves in this way is a really positive thing for them. And since they've positioned themselves there, they have had a flood of cryptocurrency companies entering the region. And we have already seen the regulators in Hong Kong saying, we want the banks to work with cryptocurrency companies. They're pushing the banks to work with cryptocurrency companies. So to hear this news today, that Hong Kong neobank freezes user accounts over crypto-related transactions is pretty shocking, considering that Hong Kong has opened up to the cryptocurrency industry. Now, we've seen the regulators try and get the banks to work with cryptocurrency companies, but Neobank has decided that they do not want to, clearly, freezing some users' accounts for crypto-related transactions. So it's happened to several users for security considerations. The bank has not yet to explain the reasons in depth, but we are speculating at this point that it's in discussion. And it's in a discussion forum that the incident may be related to the platform's recent system update, which is more sensitive to crypto-related transactions. So we will keep an eye on this. This is a very strange development, as said in this article here. Hong Kong have made massive strides forwards in terms of working with the cryptocurrency industry and getting cryptocurrency companies into the region. So it would be sad to see the banks start to put an end to that. But the banks obviously need to be regulated and make sure that they are following their own regulations, and working with cryptocurrency companies doesn't always meet those regulations there. So it's a difficult one there, but we'll see how this plays out. If the regulators and the regions is on board with becoming a cryptocurrency hotspot, I'm sure they will work around this. Let's continue though. Let's go back to the price of Bitcoin. You can see that volatility is starting to slow down slightly. As expected, it is going to be incredibly volatile for the next half an hour, or 20 minutes, I would say. We see this every single month. It's crazy how predictable this volatility is. It comes every single month for about half an hour, and then it will cool off again. But the main point today here is that that CPI data was a positive thing. 4 times till I got that word out. So definitely happy to see this today. Let's take a look at the chat and see what's happening. If you've got any questions, drop them in today's chat here. We've got one saying 1 fake pump to good news to 32k, stopping out shorts. 2 dump to 28,900, liquidating longs. 3 then we maybe stay above the 31.5k and 32k and ready to move upwards to 36k. Interesting predictions here. Now, typically, we have been within this $2,000 range for a while now for Bitcoin. And I would say I am feeling bullish. I'm feeling like we are going to attack that $31,500 level resistance once again. However, I do understand that your reasoning to see a short dump to liquidate longs and liquidity grab, and that is common to see. Whether we will get that this time, there's a big divide in the cryptocurrency industry right now. It looks like sentiment is very, very negative, and I'm feeling very, very positive for the price of Bitcoin, and I will show you why. There is one indicator that is indicating to me that we have some real upwards momentum on the way. If we go to the monthly chart here, and I delete all of these lines. If we go to the MACD here and take a look at what's happening on the MACD. In fact, we're better going to BTC USD on Bitstamp because this goes further back in time. If we take a look at this chart here, you can see every single time the MACD has ticked green on the monthly chart here, it has indicated it has ticked green at a point at which the bottom is in for Bitcoin and the bull market is starting. And what can you see on the month of July? Right now, we are forming a green candle on the MACD, indicating, again, if this candle stays green, obviously we have to wait till the end of the month. But if this is green, that indicates to me the bottom is in and the bull market is starting. That's a very, very exciting option for us here. We do need to keep an eye on this. Once a Wild Pony says this is a bullish prediction. It definitely is a bullish prediction. But we have a lot of bears in the market right now. I'm excited to see how this plays out. We do have that level of support, as I just said, let's pull that back up again on the 4-hour chart. let's get that, at the $29,750 level, $850 level. We may see some wicks down below that, but I think 28.9 is a lot further below that. So I'm not sure just on that wick, but you never know. Nothing here is financial advice. We have some volatility. No one truly knows what's going to happen. It's all based on probabilities. But we'll see how this plays out. It's a very interesting one. I think we need to shut off today's stream now. And we need to crack on with the rest of the work for today. So thank you very much for tuning in. As always, as I said, I do these live streams every single weekday at around 12 p.m. BST time. So make sure, if you have not already, to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, and tune in every single day so you can stay up to date with what's going on in the cryptocurrency news and join in with these conversations. It's great fun to have these live streams. It breaks up my working day and it feels like I'm having a break, even though I'm just talking to you guys. But that is all we have for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all back here tomorrow. Goodbye.